Welcome back to MindVero. Today we're diving into a topic that touches everyone at some point in life, the difference between solitude and isolation, and why it matters so much for our mental well-being. Solitude and isolation might look similar from the outside, but their impact on our minds and hearts couldn't be more different. Today, we're exploring the crucial difference between solitude and isolation and how each shapes our inner world. Solitude is a choice, a peaceful retreat where you recharge and reflect. It's a time when you intentionally step away from the noise of daily life to reconnect with yourself, to think, to dream, and to simply be. It's healthy, restorative, and under your control. In solitude, you find clarity, creativity, and a sense of calm that can be hard to access in a busy world. Isolation, on the other hand, is forced. It's not a choice, but a circumstance that leaves you feeling cut off from others, even when you crave connection. It's being cut off from others against your will, and it can be deeply damaging. Isolation can creep in slowly, making you feel invisible, unheard, and alone in your struggles. Our brains are wired for connection. We thrive on relationships, shared experiences, and the comfort of knowing we belong. Without it, our mental health suffers. Loneliness can set in, leading to anxiety, depression, and a sense of emptiness that's hard to shake. Solitude is a sanctuary. Isolation is a prison. One nurtures your spirit, the other can break it down. When we lose connection, our sense of reality and well-being begins to unravel. The world can feel distant and hope can fade. The silence of solitude can heal, but the silence of isolation can harm. It's the difference between feeling at peace and feeling abandoned. Understanding this difference is vital. Our connections anchor us to reality and to each other. They remind us that we're not alone, even in our quietest moments. When those anchors are cut, the consequences are profound. The journey from solitude to isolation can be subtle, but the effects are powerful. Let's look at what happens when isolation takes hold, and how we can recognize the warning signs before it's too late. The journey into the isolated mind starts now. Let's explore together, and remember, connection is always within reach. Forced isolation triggers a surge of stress hormones. Your body's alarm system stuck on high alert. Without social interaction, we lose our reality check. Thoughts spiral, and it's hard to know what's real. Time blurs, sleep suffers, anxiety grows, physical symptoms appear. Headaches, heart palpitations, dizziness, and loss of appetite. The body and mind both rebel against isolation. These aren't minor discomforts. They're urgent warning signs. Human connection isn't just nice to have, it's essential for survival. Prolonged isolation changes the brain itself. The limbic system becomes hyperactive, while the prefrontal cortex, the center for reasoning and memory, shrinks. This rewiring leads to anxiety, rage, and poor decision-making. Depression and hopelessness set in. Hallucinations and delusions can follow. These aren't signs of weakness. They're the brain's response to an antisocial environment. The damage can last for years, even a lifetime. Many develop PTSD-like symptoms, chronic paranoia, and social anxiety. The very thing they need, connection, becomes a source of fear. Readjusting to society is incredibly difficult. Isolation leaves deep, lasting wounds. Nowhere is forced isolation more devastating than in solitary confinement. In these stark, windowless cells, individuals are cut off from nearly all forms of human interaction, left alone with only their thoughts for company. The silence is overwhelming, and the sense of abandonment can be crushing. Prisoners spend up to 24 hours a day alone in tiny cells, with minimal human contact. Meals are slid through a slot in the door, and even brief moments outside the cell are rare and heavily restricted. The monotony and sensory deprivation can quickly erode a person's sense of self. Originally intended for reflection and discipline, solitary is now widely recognized as a form of psychological torture. The lack of stimulation and social interaction can lead to severe mental health issues, including depression, paranoia, and hallucinations. Over 120,000 people in the U.S. endure these conditions, many for minor infractions or nonviolent offenses. The use of solitary is widespread, affecting people of all ages and backgrounds, often with little oversight or recourse. Those with mental illness are especially vulnerable, and their conditions often worsen in isolation. Instead of receiving treatment or support, they are left to struggle alone, which can lead to self-harm or even suicide. Solitary doesn't rehabilitate. It increases anxiety, PTSD, and makes reintegration into society much harder. The psychological scars can last a lifetime, making it nearly impossible for many to adjust after release. The evidence is clear. This practice causes severe, long-term harm, both mentally and physically. Families are affected too, as loved ones watch the person they care about deteriorate behind bars. Why do we continue a system that breaks people further, rather than helping them heal and rejoin society? The question remains, demanding urgent answers and real change. There are better ways. Around the world, some countries are reimagining what justice can look like, moving beyond punishment to focus on healing and growth. Countries like Norway focus on rehabilitation, not punishment. Their approach is rooted in the belief that everyone deserves a second chance, and that true justice means helping people rebuild their lives. Their prisons offer education, therapy, and real opportunities for growth, resulting in some of the world's lowest reoffending rates. Inmates are encouraged to learn new skills, address trauma, and prepare for life beyond prison walls. Treating people with dignity works. When staff and inmates build trust and mutual respect, it creates a safer, more positive environment for everyone. In the US, some states are limiting solitary, but change is slow. Many still rely on isolation, which research shows can cause lasting psychological harm and make reintegration even harder. We need a fundamental shift, away from punishment, toward connection and restorative justice. Programs that foster empathy, accountability, and healing benefit not just individuals, but entire communities. Social connection is as vital as food or water. It's what helps people heal, grow, and find hope for the future. Denying it is a profound harm. Isolation breaks the human spirit and undermines the very goals of justice and rehabilitation. Let's demand systems that heal, not harm, because how we treat the most vulnerable defines us all. Together, we can build a future where justice means restoration, not suffering. Thank you for joining me. Let's keep working for a more compassionate world.